Welcome to the Buck Stops here, the official audio show of NotInHallOfFame.com, and I'm your host, Kirk Buchner, the Buck. It's Season 1, Episode 39 of the Hall of Fame show, and Evan Nolan and I, we don't have really that much to talk about, even though we're into the fall. It's a bit light in Hall of Fame news, but we always find something, don't we? A couple legends in the music industry passed away, and we look at their careers. Helen Reddy, I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar, and Mac Davis, Baby Baby, Don't Get Hooked on Me. Also, I finally award the first ever Not in Hall of Fame Middle Relievers of the Year, which I think is something pretty special. We'll see if this catches on. It might not, it probably won't. But nevertheless, I'm doing this every year. Without further ado, let's bring in Evan. Mr. Evan Nolan, how goes things in the great city of Chicago, Illinois, USA?
Not so good, man.
Oh dear.
There were 3 days ago. There were 2 Chicago teams in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. There are currently no Chicago teams in the playoffs. So, yeah. And the Cubs and the White Sox made the playoffs for the first time in a long time at the same time. So they combined for 1 win, and the Cubs added 1 run in 2 games. So
I was saying to my dad, this is completely bizarre world. He's not a sports fan, and he always sort of says like in Canada, the weather doesn't get good until the hockey playoffs are over. And now the hockey playoffs are over, and then the baseball playoffs started the day after. I can't think of a better 2020 in a nutshell until Donald Trump got COVID.
Yeah, and I know we don't like going to politics here, but I'm just wondering if it's true. If it is
fair
true,
enough.
That would be one of the few things that he would have been honest about in a long time. So,
can I open with the political? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, the one thing that makes me think that it might be true is that he's calling it COVID and not the China flu or whatever.
Oh. I didn't catch that.
That's the first time he's actually showed the disease any sort of respect. So we'll see if it's true or not. But, and again, I do not wish ill on anybody.
Right.
I hope that if he is actually ill, that he makes recovery, and that recovery opens up his eyes to the fact that he's been a moron for the last 7 months.
I just want to bring up something Jamel Hill sort of said, and I'm bringing her up again. Because I think I brought her up a few times. And Jamel's had her issues with 45 a few times. But I loved what she said here, and I thought it was the best respect she could possibly give somebody. And it sort of, to me, it nailed it on the head. And this is what she said. I don't know who needs to hear this, but you can wish well for someone without feeling sorry for them.
That's true.
And yeah, I thought that was perfect. And there are things like you and I, I'll say this openly, and that's not a popular thing. I love the fact that Trump's an anti-war guy. Beyond that, at what cost?
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And you and I can sort of go ahead.
I would say, I don't know how deeply we want to go into this, but it's been an interesting week.
Right. And that's probably as deep as we want to go, because let's just sort of segue to my political rant, which is pop culture related.
Okay.
And that's directed to you, Kamala Harris. And yes, and I understand that you're going to be asked questions that Trump's not going to be asked, Mike Pence isn't going to be asked, and Joe Biden's not going to be asked. One of which is, who's your favorite living rapper? No one's going to ask the other 3 of those. Yeah, no one's going to ask the other 3 of those. And based on your answers and your performance on The Breakfast Club, Kamala, I know that you don't follow music. You don't. And that's okay. That's okay, because to me, and Evan, I think you agree with me on this, I don't think it makes a lick of difference whether my political person, in my case it's Canada, knows who the hell Cardi B is or who so-and-so is. It shouldn't matter. But in this weird U.S. identitarianism, I understand that you kind of have to. And so when someone asks you, who's your favorite living rapper, you feel like you have to answer it rather than say the truth and say, you know what, I've been working my ass off the last 30 years and I don't listen to music. Now, with Barack Obama, it was different because he probably, when he's typing back his emails and whatnot, he's listening to music in the background. Bill Clinton did. I thought it was a white-black thing, and then I thought about it, because then I thought about Bill Clinton, and then I thought, like, holy shit, none of them have anything on JFK.
Well, he had one particular artist he enjoyed pretty much. He had a wonderful rendition of Happy Birthday for him.
Exactly, right. So, I mean, like, if you sort of, like, give off a hip vibe and you're under 50, and I know Kamala's not under 50, but okay, that's fine. She looks under 50. She looks fantastic. Was she 52, 53?
Somewhere around there, I think.
Right, but if somebody said she was 42, 43, you'd probably believe it. So I say this to you, Kamala, since you're not going to... What's that?
I said she's 55. Sorry, continue.
Oh, she's 55.
She's
okay.
55.
Oh, God, okay.
Yeah.
She looks even better.
It should be 56 this month.
Oh, my God. Okay, well, even better. So Kamala, since you're not going to say the truth, which is, I know nothing about pop culture. I know nothing. So I'm going to give you 2 letters. Next time someone asks you this question, just 2 letters. Jay-Z. Listen, he's not that much younger than you. He's married to someone who really cares, who seems to care about politics right now in Beyonce. It's a rags to riches story. He's done a hell of a lot. And
he's probably be a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer if they actually have a class. Absolutely.
And then if they say, like, what's your favorite song? Here's your answer. Empire State of Mind. Boom. And then you just talk about, like, his work with bringing up Alicia Keys. Boom. I've just solved it for you. And that way you don't look like a fraud.
Yeah, I remember when John Kerry tried to make a sports thing when the Red Sox were doing well in 2004, and we all just looked at him like, you have no idea. I can't remember whether I think he said Manny Ortiz for the Red Sox player. Well, it wasn't even Ortiz, it was Ortiz.
Well,
and you're just like, don't pretend. It's okay for you not to be a sports fan.
Exactly. And you know what the thing is, too? Like, when so, like, right before this, so I'm looking at sort of people... like commenting on that, because obviously, like I listen to people sometimes who I don't care for all the time, like a Ben Shapiro. I like some of what he says. I don't like a lot of what he says, and he's gonna like rip you apart when you're wrong. And he's right to do so. He also has other issues, as Evan, you and I can sort of like talk through, which we're not going to right now. But the reality is, Kamala, if you're going to like play this game, and if you're not going to be honest, I've just given you your out. That's it. Here you go. Jay-Z.
So this is less of a rant and more of the more you know.
Something like that. It's like I almost want to say like I'm not that much younger than you, and I look like a fucking geek. But I could have I could have saved you from this shit, because it's gonna happen to you again. It's gonna happen to you again, and the right wing is gonna drag you, and rightfully so, because you're not prepped for something that's so simple. Because as weird as it is, like. So, Evan, I don't know who it is for you, but like I've got friends in Canada who have voted for Justin Trudeau. I know 3 people, actually 4, 3 women, 1 gay individual who voted for Justin Trudeau because he was good looking. None of them could tell you why, what he said. None of them. I know one person in the United States who voted for Barack Obama because they love the fact that he had a bracket for the NCAA. Couldn't tell you anything that he did. So when I say this shit matters, sadly it does.
I agree. Yeah, no, it definitely does in our country. So
in Canada too, more in yours, but it's just one of those weird things. I wish it didn't matter. Like, I wish the fact that nobody's asking her who her favorite living hip-hop artist is. And she goes, oh, it's Tupac. Oh, he's alive. Yeah, okay, Kamala, here's another thing, too. I want to play cards with you. Because if I say, hey, do you have pocket aces? If that's your answer, you've got pocket aces. You're smarter than this. You are an intelligent woman. If we combined the IQ of Pence, Biden, and Trump, I'll spot you 20 to win. But stop doing the nervous laugh. I'm done. This is the end of my rant.
Oh, man. You dragging that soapbox away pretty quietly today.
Okay, but am I wrong on that one though? Because she's going to be the president of the United States.
It's a layup question, and I mean anyone should know that Tupac is dead. So yeah, I mean that's all probably true, and it's real easy. Mm-hmm. And you can. Jay is just a pretty good answer for anything. So
yeah, and
what are your 2 favorite letters of the alphabet? Easy. Yeah, what's your favorite line on the New York subway? Jay-Z. You know, all sorts of stuff.
There you go. I've just saved your team 10 minutes that you don't pay attention to, and it sucks that people are going to ask you that, but you kind of brought that a bit on yourself. Barack sort of played a bit of that, but like I was saying before that. This is not a white-black thing. JFK dominated the whole pop culture thing.
That's true. I would say, though, if they asked Biden that question, he'd probably make up a story about some guy named Cornwall.
Possibly. So. And Trump would just... And Trump could... Okay, I'll put it this way. If Trump can handle that question better than you, and I think he could, that's not good.
He probably could.
Because probably some of them appeared in Celebrity Apprentice.
Possibly. Possibly.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get on to something people want to hear us talking.
yeah, exactly. Like the beige mistress. Has she struck?
The beige mistress has struck again.
Oh!
It is a remarkable record.
Damn.
Honestly. Go ahead.
No, I just want to ask. I mean, for those who aren't aware of who the Beige Mistress is, this is our the Not in Hall of Fame version of a very weak Black Widow, and she hunts and strikes Hungarian athletes, and somehow Evan has figured this out. No one else has, but Evan has.
No, I do a review on Wikipedia every week before we go on here to make sure there's nobody we miss. And I started somewhere around April to notice, that's like 3 Hungarian Olympians in a row in 3 separate weeks. And then I just started noticing. And every week since then, we've had at least one, except for there's 1 week we didn't, sometime in early August, maybe. Mm-hmm. But pretty much every week since then, we've had at least one Hungarian Olympian who has passed away. And it is a very weird thing because there's not that many Hungarian Olympians compared to Olympians from all over the world. And the percentage of them who are dying that are Hungarian is 40 to 50%. The beige mistress got János Dalmati this week, who was a Hungarian race walker in the 1972 Olympics. Yes, he competed in the 50-kilometer race walk. Which, again, that's as beige as the beige mistress can go. I mean, of all the Olympic events, that was
Must have
the most questionable.
Must have been easy to catch him because all you have to do is sort of like skip a couple steps, and there he was.
Yeah. Yeah, so unfortunately, Yano Salvati is no longer with us, passing away at the age of 70. No cause of death given, which is the way the Beige Mistress works.
Is this our third now? Third in a row?
Our Hungarian...
Yeah, third in a row for our second run.
Oh, the second run? I think it's our fourth or fifth at this point.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So, yeah.
What do you think Beige Mistress looks like? I mean, obviously, like, Black Widow is Scarlett Johansson, and she's an attractive woman. So, like, what do you think Beige Mistress might look like? I'm sort of thinking, like, who's that actress in, crap, what's that show?
I think this is dangerous territory for us to be treading on.
Okay, well, I'll try. I'll try there. Okay, I got it. Elizabeth Moss.
Okay, interesting. I hadn't given it much thought. She's more of an enigma to me.
Well,
so she's an idea that exists only because we brought her to life ourselves.
Well, I thought I threw that out. I'd throw that out there. So, I mean, that's the beautiful thing about our show. It's like we have a very vague idea what we're going to do, and then it just goes to shit.
And by vague idea, we're like, so we got three things, right? Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, good.
Exactly.
I was looking back through our conversation on Twitter, because that's how we communicate mostly before this.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, that's literally what we do. Like, we got this, right? Yeah, sure. We got this, right? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And some days it's as much as 24 hours ahead of time. Most days it's not. But some days it is. Some weeks it is.
Some days it's not even 24 seconds ahead of time.
That is also true.
Mm.
This was a light week this week.
No, yeah, it kind of is. It was one of those weird things where, like, because you weren't able to record on Thursday night, and then I responded to you. It's like, well, hey, maybe we're going to add some stuff Friday. And then there was the Trump thing.
Stuff, but nothing to do with the Hall of Fame.
Right, yeah, no, exactly. But I mean, look, but it's quote Hall of Fame, end quote Hall of Fame season. You know, shit's going to happen over the next few months. So I'm not too worried about that.
Right.
And you sent me off, a couple key deaths who are not in my not in Hall of Fame rock list, but two people who are very, very important in the pantheon of rock music in the 70s or pop music in the 70s.
Yeah, I have a trivia question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
First musical group to have 3 Billboard #1 hits in Billboard history in the same year was the Beatles.
Right. Okay.
Who was the second artist to have 3 #1 hits in the same year?
Well, I want to say the Supremes, but that doesn't fit for what we're talking about, so that can't be right. That's not right, is it?
The answer's right in front of you. It's who we're going to talk about.
Oh, Helen Reddy?
Helen Reddy is the second person to have 3 #1 hits in a single year in 1972.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. Continue.
Yeah. So the first one, hold on to get her actual discography here. The song that was #1 to end 1971, the year you were born, was
thanks for that.
And
yeah, I'm old.
#1 going into 1972 was "I Am Woman."
Mm-hmm.
And then both "Delta Dawn" and "Leave Me Alone," also known as "Ruby Red Dress," which is a very strange song that you definitely do on your countdown. #1 in 72. So she had the first song, even though that song came out in 71, it was #1 when the calendar turned to 72. And she had 2 other #1 hits that year. So there you go. But the Beatles #1, Helen Reddy was the second.
Helen Reddy standing by. Family Guy, get that. So.
So Helen Reddy was, and some people say the female queen of pop of the 70s. I mean, she had her peak there from 71 to about 75 was pretty intense. Like I said, she had the 3 number 1 songs. Her first hit was actually her cover of I Don't Know How to Love Him from Jesus Christ Superstar, which was a B-side of her first single that came out. And that was what really brought her to prominence, because she started a little bit late, I guess, in terms of female ingenues. Like, she was in her late 20s when she finally kind of hit the big time, which I know is not old, but in terms of the way that pop music treats women, that's old.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I agree with
Reddy.
I agree with you, Evan, because like pretty much like the only time that you can be sort of like a successful woman in pop music after 35 is if you were super successful before 25.
Yeah, it's women in pop music and women in tennis are pretty much the same sort of situation.
Holy shit, that's so true.
that just popped into my head. That was not planned, but I think it's true. Yeah, so she had a big peak there in the early 70s. She kind of bridged the gap between like the 60s folk era into the pre-disco funk era.
Mm-hmm.
She's kind of in that little niche in there. She went from one to the other with all sorts of, country-ish music. I mean, Delta Dawn is one of the most country-ish number 1 hits of all time, although the 70s had a lot of country hits that was number 1.
That's very true.
So, still one of the most... I mean, she's been someone who probably has deserved more consideration for the Hall, but even when I make my list of women I think should be in the Hall, she ends up somewhere in the 12 to 15 range. I mean, there's just other people who I always think of ahead of her. But still, I mean, I Am Woman is one of the most iconic songs of all time.
Yeah, I had to explain to my wife who Helen Reddy was when she died. And again, for relatively new listeners, I married an immigrant from Indonesia. And that shouldn't matter, but it kind of does when I'm talking about pop culture. Especially when she asked me one time, like, why are you named Kirk? And I said, because I was named after William Shatner. And she says, the Priceline guy. That's just how that was. So for her, that song is Sex and the City 2.
Okay.
Yeah, because the 4 women sort of like did that there. And I told her that was a major song in the early 70s. And it kind of ties in with, I guess, her second person who sort of like passed away, Mac Davis. And for me, that was a bit more relevant. And the only reason I say that, not because he's male and she's female, just I remember just like, being born in 72 and then just the weird shit of the 70s. If you had like 1 or 2 hits, you had a variety show. Mm-hmm. Mac Davis had a variety show. And Mac Davis was a quarterback, and I think I sent that off to you. A film that I want you to watch. I don't know if you have yet. North Dallas 40.
Yeah, I have not watched it, but it is on my list of things to of movies to watch. So
yeah, so like thoughts on Mac Davis?
Well, interestingly, I told you that her first song, Helen Reddy's first song, was "I Don't Know How to Love Him," cover from Jesus Christ Superstar. Mm-hmm. That was the B-side of her single.
Right.
The A-side was a song called "I Believe in Music," which was written by Mac Davis.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So there's a segue right there, and they passed away on the same day. Damn. Yeah. So Mac Davis, born in 1942, Lubbock, Texas, passed away at age 78. I mean, he wrote songs for many people. I mean,
everybody.
Elvis, among others. He wrote Elvis's most melodramatic song, "In the Ghetto." Going back to South Park there.
Yep, he did.
Yeah, he also wrote "A Little Less Conversation," which became a much bigger hit after Elvis's death was remixed. But I mean, one of the great songwriters, really, of the 70s and beyond.
Yeah, he had a few songs that I really liked. He was one of those guys to me who, that's the word I'm looking for. He was aware, he just sort of like knew his own worth. He's sort of like, because, oh man, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. I know I got that wrong, the words, but I know I got none of those things wrong or right, but still, I mean, it's obviously he didn't mean it that way, and he had a hit that I didn't get then. I kind of got when I was single. "Baby, baby, don't get hooked on me." Because I'll just use you. Yeah, and I'll do that at some point in the number one show. And I'll just use you, and I'll set you free. And my first thought back then was like, fine, you're not that good looking. You're not going to do that. It's like, until sort of like I became somebody who would use them and set them free.
Yeah, when I was single, that Bob Seger's "We Got Tonight" was made a lot more sense too. So I understand what you're saying, but yeah, no, Mac Davis was. I mean, he had his own career, but just an incredible songwriter, if nothing else. And he was in the Sting too.
He was in the Sting too. He also sort of like wrote one of the worst songs ever, "Watching Scotty Grow," and thank God he didn't put that out himself. I'll just leave it there. The song's, if you've never heard it, it's called "Watching Scotty Grow." That's all you need to know.
Okay.
What can I say after that?
I don't know. I don't think I don't actually fully know that song, so I may have to watch that before I watch North Dallas 40.
It's by Bobby Goldsboro. Yeah. So Bobby Goldsboro sort of like had that. No, watch North Dallas 40. North Dallas 40 is like probably, in my opinion, one of the first, if not the first, great sports films ever. Mac Davis plays the quarterback, essentially a version of Don Meredith. Because with what we now see with quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, it's like, really, you're a quarterback? Okay, well, in 1978, we could believe it.
I mean, Bobby Lane was smoking and doing shots at halftime, and he's a Hall of Famer. What's his name for the Raiders? Who looked like he was 97 years old when he was like 32.
Yes, Ken Stabler.
Kenny Stabler, I am older than Kenny Stabler was during his playing career, and I won't live as old as Kenny Stabler as a 33-year-old until I am somewhere in my 60s.
You ever see Bob Kuchenberg?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a great one. Like, how the hell did Al Bundy's dad wind up as a dolphin? Yeah, I don't even know how to sort of say it. It's, and I say to people here, from the neck up, I'm gorgeous. Neck down, not so much. But yeah, RIP to two very important people. Neither of them are on my Not in Hall of Fame rock list. Maybe they should be. What do you think?
I don't know about Matt Davis.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you had a country list, I think Davis would definitely have to be on that. If you did a songwriters list, I think Davis would have to be on that. But I believe in rebel country sort of being in the Rock Hall, but I have trouble with the country or the 70s sort of country being in the Rock Hall.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think he warrants it to be on. How big's your list now?
564.
Mm.
It's going to reach 1,000 at one point.
Helen Reddy should be in your top 565. I would say that. Just because of her career and the height it got to and everything else. I don't think she's ever going to get in the Hall, but I think she should at least be in the top 600 people or 600 acts or outside of it.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, so I think if you added her on the end, that'd be fine.
Okay. So
part of the problem with lists like this is there's just so many people.
Oh my God, it's crazy. Just like how many people sometimes I think I left off, especially like when you sent me those, because I missed it initially on Twitter. Like when you sent me those two, because I didn't see that Mac Davis and Helen Reddy passed away until you told me that. It's like, and that was my first thought. Like,
yeah, the running joke was the debate was so bad they both were like, "We're out of here," because both the deaths were announced during the debate. So,
oh my, yeah, what a shit show that was. But we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on from that.
Sorry, just one thing though. Going into your theory that there should not be that the disparity between men and women in the Rock Hall is somewhat more justified and we're led to believe.
Yeah,
so,
go ahead.
Going back to Twitter, I'm doing my countdown there. I have 56 bands or artists who are eligible for the Rock Hall.
Yeah, which is phenomenal.
And I'm counting them down. Yeah. So the first 20 I've put on Twitter. So I've been doing 2 a day for the last 10 days. Mm-hmm. And most recent one was a band I really like, but it's too far down the list of bands. The British band Cast. There's too many Brit-pop bands who have to before Cast even comes up. But do you know how many women are in those first 20 that I put up there?
0. I have no idea. I'll guess. What? One?
Kim Deal. So Kim Deal's backup band. That
can't be right. Really?
Comes in at number 48. So going through this list, I have one. So the bands I have done so far, not to my own horn here, but just don't get. Arion from the Netherlands is 56. 55 is Country Teasers. 54, I swear, is an SNL act called Air from France.
I love Air, by the way.
53, Safari. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, Cloud Cult has 2. Mm-hmm. They have 2 backup people. Cloud Cult. I love Cloud Cult, but nobody knows them outside of Minnesota mostly. So I guess we're up to 3. 51 is the Friends of Dean Martinez. 50 is the Boards of Canada. 49 Dismemberment Plan. 48 is the Amps. 47 V&V Nation. 46 Fenez. 45 Slash is Snake Pit, which is I completely forgot it existed. For this 44 the Brian Jonestown Massacre. 43 Camelot. 42 Robert Miles. 41 Spock's Beard. 40 Theater of Tragedy. Actually, no, Theater of Tragedy has one as well. 39 Johnny Lang. 38 Opus. 37 Cast. So anyway, so that's 20 bands and we are 4 women. I completely forgot about the singer in Theater of Tragedy, who wasn't a band I was particularly aware of before I started this process. So
I'm not wrong.
A lot of time ahead of time listening to music of bands I'm not quite particularly sure of before I start doing this.
So essentially, I'm not wrong when I say all this shit. Yeah.
The next woman who's going to come up probably. I mean, I was looking at the whole next group here. there's only one in like the next 10 that I can think of on my here. Is Cat Power. She's going to be in the next 10. I haven't fully gotten. I'm putting them up as I've like decided exactly where they go, because anyone under 20 can like. Honestly, what's the difference between Carbon Leaf, Semisonic, and Finger 11? Is there like?
The Canadian in me wants to sort of like say Finger 11, but no.
Yeah, I mean, you determine between the Dandy Warhols and Government Mule.
Well, like a Dandy Warhol song was sort of like featured at one of my weddings. I'll leave it at that. Because things are much better now. There's a whole bunch in the middle here. I'm just trying to determine where exactly they go. But yeah, just looking at the next group here, there are no women again after her until Robin. Ooh, okay.
Probably like 15 ahead. Yeah, because I don't think Silverchair, Presence USA, Filter, 3-6 Mafia, Mushroom Head, Powerman 5000, like Jars of Clay, the Delgados, none of these people have any women in them. So you got Robin. Natalie Merchant is on this list. Jewel is on this list. Slater, Kinney, and Garbage.
Right. We've talked about them a lot, yeah. Which goes back to my point. I mean, like, it's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is not sexist. That's just how it worked out.
Yeah, I would say of the probably close to 200 people in the 56 bands, somewhere around there, would be my guess. You're going to have 25 of you.
So I guess closing off here today, we're going to be sort of like doing a bunch of mock committees. Well, a few mock committees and then then one real committee, which we'll talk about after. So in the last week, I've been pretty active trying to put together a group for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And you and I, I've said this many times, I think you've agreed with me on that the Pro Football Hall of Fame, I love the fact that they've got these levels in terms of, so like we've got our preliminary list, so here's our then we go from the semifinal list. So there's 130 preliminary lists, it might be 131, 129, whatever. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, because you, myself, Vinny Laspinuso, and a few other people who I've asked to be part of that, who are big pro football fans, we're going to try and figure out who the 25 should be. In our mind. Mm-hmm. And
right.
As far as I'm concerned, it's the real thing. Like, I don't know, what do you think? No, well, I mean, like, really, because, like, it's a hard thing coming up with, there's some people, just off the top of my head, like, how the hell are we going to, like, just cut them? I don't know, what do you think?
I mean, it is going to be very, very hard to do this. It helps that there are no coaches now, I'm going to be honest.
Totally.
But hold on, let me get the preliminary list here, because we went through this a few weeks ago.
We did, yeah. But now we're going to act like a real committee.
Yeah. 2021 Pro Football Hall of Fame nominees. There we go. Yeah, so like just going back through, it's 130 nominees for the Hall of Fame here, and I mean, like how are you going to? It's going to be hard. Just cutting down offensive linemen is going to be hard. Yeah. Like there are 20 offensive linemen here, and you only have 25 people. there's multiple people who I think should have been semifinalists already in the offensive line list who are not going to make it through our thing.
And I think that's the whole point of this project is just, for a bunch of people who are not part of that process, just to see how hard it is.
Mm-hmm.
And
we all think that Steve Tasker should be a Hall of Famer. I know you, me, and Vinny all do. And I don't know if he makes it through the 25.
Exactly.
It's going to be close.
No, yeah, totally. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. That's something that's going to happen here in the next little while. I don't think we're going to record it, just in case someone will say something stupid. I'm looking at myself.
Fair enough.
But just to see how that sort of works out. Something similar to what Alex Voltaire did for the Rock Hall.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. By the way, Alex Voltaire and all those guys wanted a whole bunch of women in, and they did their list, and only by the time they were done with their finalists, only 3 women on their list too.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
Out of the 15. So.
Which, and I wonder if that's what we're going to come up with. Are we going to come up with Steve Tasker or somebody in special teams? It's so easy. Especially, like you said, offensive line. We could easily, knock Tasker off.
Yeah, I mean, there are 16 special teamers, 4 kick returner, punt returners, and then 12 punters and kickers.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the kickers list, David Akers, Gary Anderson, Jason Elam, Jeff Fiegels, Jason Hansen, John Casey, Sean Landetta, Ryan Longwell, Nick Lowry, Reggie Roby, Ron Stark, and Matt Turk.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the top one there, Gary Anderson's the number 3 scorer in NFL history. I don't feel like there's a big difference between David Akers and Ryan Longwell. You know what I mean? If there's any differentiator, Anderson's points might be there, but I don't feel necessarily like Gary Anderson's a Hall of Famer either, even though he's third in points. So I feel like that we're not going to have any punters or kickers. So that leaves the special teamers, Josh Cribbs, Mel Gray, Brian Mitchell, and Steve Tasker. All of whom are very, very good. I don't know. I don't know if any special teamers are going to make the list.
Well, it's kind of funny, too. Well, not funny, but when you look at this whole group, we already know that 2 people are already going through.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Right.
Yeah, so we're choosing 23.
Mm-hmm.
If Peyton Manning and not Champ Bailey and Charles Woodson don't go through, then we need to investigate ourselves.
Right. So, and that makes it so hard for so many people to get through, which just sort of reflects 5 players in the Pro Football Hall of Fame each year. Come on, guys. It should be a larger group, but nevertheless, that's what we have.
And I'm going to make one prediction, by the way, as well, and I have more control over this than anyone else. I'm predicting of the 10 finalists from last year who did not get into the Hall of Fame. So again, the process is 15 names. They cut it from 15 to 10 and then 10 to 5, and then they vote up or down on those 5. Mm-hmm. And since 2004, they've done the right thing and put all of them in. Before that, they didn't, which is part of what caused this problem in the first place. I'm predicting those 10 who were finalists last year, 2 of them don't even make our semifinalist list. I'm not going to say which 2, but I'm saying we're only going to have 8 of the 10.
All right. Well, I'm kind of glad you brought this up because this is sort of where I wanted to go with this. We're going to have the 130, and just for time purposes, right? Do we just sort of do we send a list and just say yes, no to everyone who's going to participate, and if it's a unanimous no, we just don't go any further? For when we do our...
So there's 130, and we all have to pick a certain number, a maximum number. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So say 65, which is half of 130.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's probably going to cut out. I'll pick on a guy from my own team, Gerard Mayo.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably not going to be on top of anyone's 65. So that's going to we'll end up probably somewhere with about 80, would be my guess, by the time we're done. And then we can cut from there. I think that makes more sense in terms of time to just have a little bit of winnowing before we even have any sort of discussion.
Right, and that's sort of like what I wanted, I thought would be sort of like good for the show here. It's like, what's our sort of like preliminary process?
I think that's a good preliminary process. Mm-hmm. So what's the process after that, now that I'm part of this committee?
Part of it? You're the chairman of it, buddy.
Okay. Now that I'm the... I'll use it for a second time before we went on air. Now that I am the Ed McMahon of this committee.
Yes.
I don't know. I can't think of any other sidekicks' names for any of those
Andy
shows.
Richter?
I should be, but I just can't.
Richter. Andy Richter.
Andy Richter, there you go. Now that I'm the Andy Richter of this committee, so once we do that, are we just going to have a phone conversation? We keep voting, or how's that going to work?
We're going to. Well, the way I was sort of like thinking, we're going to do this through Zoom, and sort of like take it from there. So, like, once we have a group that we're already eliminating before we even sort of like all meet, and that's sort of like what I'm thinking of. If we already, there's 130 people. Like, there's no reason that once we all sort of like get together that we haven't eliminated half. Well, I won't say half because that's not right, but 40 of these people, like, we're wasting time saying, is this guy a Hall of Famer? Is Jake Delhomme a Hall of Famer? No, he's not.
That's the exact name I was looking at. That was the exact name I was about to bring up.
All right, thanks. Yeah. You know, just stuff like that. So, like, that way we can sort of like...
I do want to hear Vinny Los Panuso's impassioned defense of Glenn Milburn, though. I don't know if he has one. I just want to hear someone's impassioned defense of Glenn Milburn. Because I legitimately do not remember him. And I have followed football, I think, pretty closely since I was 8. My first memory is of the Patriots getting their butts kicked, or my first sports memory of the Patriots getting their butts kicked by the Bears. So, like, since that point, as I followed football pretty closely, and I still cannot tell you who Glenn Milburn is.
I told you, Glenn Milburn was, he got his ass kicked by Jaleesa in a different world.
Wasn't he the host of the Match Game 75?
Wham, boom, 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 wham, boom, boom. Hey, I'm Gene Rayburn. I love that song. Holy crap.
Gene Rayburn and that super skinny Mike. And those people were pretty good. And Betty White and what's his name from Running Man and other things.
Richard Dawson.
Yeah, Richard Dawson.
Why do I know this? Holy crap. And Charles Nelson Riley.
Charles Nelson Riley, yeah.
Okay, here's a useless fact here for you. My first ever picture on Facebook was Charles Nelson Riley.
I have a picture frame in my house with a line from the sketch from Saturday Night Live of Charles Nelson Riley being on James Lipton's program. Do you remember that sketch?
No.
It's James Lipton's being played by Will Ferrell, and I can't remember who plays Charles Nelson Riley. It might be Alec Baldwin. And they're talking about his acting career inside the actor's studio. And he says, Charles Nelson Riley, your acting has never been matched. Your performance in whatever show they were talking about was so good, a word has not been created in the English language to describe it. So I'm forced to make one up, which I will now. Charles Nelson Riley, your acting is scrumptious. And I use the word scrumptious all the time. I have a picture frame with the word scrumptious engraved in it. for a picture of my wife and I in my house. So
I don't know how we can sort of like end up anything better than that.
Yeah, I mean, unless you want to go into Punky Brewster's body parts again, I think we're good.
No, I think I sort of like.
But before we take off, there are just a couple other people I do want to bring up who passed away this week.
Yeah.
Quick past.
Please.
The original bass player from Van Halen passed away, Mark Stone, and I say original, like he was one of the original 4 guys who was replaced fairly early on. He passed away at the age of 73. Jimmy Winston, who is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with the Small Faces, passed away at the age of 75. I don't have a cause of death there, but he also passed this week. Couple of Dodgers who won World Series rings. Lou Johnson, member of the 65 Dodgers, passed away at the age of 87. Spent basically the entire 60s in the majors, hit 258. Played with the Cubs, Angels, Braves, Dodgers, Indians, and he played the Angels twice and the Cubs twice. He passed away, and one of the most interesting men in baseball, Jay Johnstone, who is probably more known for his antics than anything else, passed from COVID this week at the age of 74.
Oh shit! I know exactly who that is.
Jay Johnstone. Yeah. Remember the 78-81 World Series teams?
Yeah, pinch hitter. He was in The Naked Gun.
I believe, yes, that's correct. Remember the Seattle Mariners in that game?
Something like that. As Jay Johnstone.
Yeah, and that scene from Naked Gun, which was supposed to take place in Angel Stadium, did not take place in Angel Stadium because they couldn't get a permit. So it takes place in Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, Jay Johnstone had a long, just a super long career, one of those careers that it almost felt like he had more seasons than at bats.
That is entirely possible. So he started in '66 with the Angels and ended in '85 with the Dodgers. So.
Oh wow! No, I definitely remember him. I totally believed it when he was confused by by Frank Drebin's work behind home plate. Strike! Hey!
Yeah. So Jay Johnstone passed away as well. So that was just a few there that I thought we should mention in passing.
No, I'm glad you brought him up. We'll see. Oh, you know what, Evan? I've got a couple things that I have to bring out.
Okay.
Yeah, I am going. Okay, one of the things that I've sort of felt is unwarranted, or not unwarranted. That's not the right word, Buchner. Just haven't been out is awards in certain sports. And
okay.
I'm in the process of putting together the middle reliever of the year from 1980 on.
That's correct. Yeah, I forgot about this. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to sort of put this out on the site and for this year. And basically what I did is at the end of every sort of game this year, who was the best middle reliever? Because it's important now. So I've awarded the middle reliever, and I'm going to for in the National League and the American League, and they're very, very different from each other. So in the American League, it's going to be Jake Diekman of the Oakland Athletics.
Woohoo!
Yes. Age 33, 15, 2-0, ERA of 0.42 over 21.1 innings.
That's pretty good. That's like 2.5 games. That's pretty good.
Yeah, like in terms of like what we're looking at this year, it's incredible. It's not even close. See, if I were to have awarded this in the first quarter of the season, it would have been Chad Green, and then Chad Green fell apart. So Jake Diekman is the official, NotInHallOfFame.com American League middle reliever of the year. So Jake,
here's what I think you need to do.
What's that?
Or you need to get a trophy or something engraved and just send to the A's and see what he does.
Or something like that. Like I thought I was sort of like I wanted to like send something to his agent and say like, okay, look what I've just awarded. Nobody does this. Nobody does this. You could have made your client another $500,000. I honestly believe that.
Yeah.
Because
it's probably possible.
Yeah, am I wrong here though, Evan? No, but I was gonna say, like, am I wrong? I was gonna say, like, am I wrong? Is this like now something that is colossally important that never would have been when you and I were younger?
100%.
Okay.
100% is colossally important. There weren't really middle relievers.
Mm-hmm.
You had a pitcher went 7 innings. If he went less than 7 innings, he had a bad outing. And then you had someone maybe come in for the 8th, and then the closer of the 9th, or the closer just came in the 8th and win.
Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah, now if you go like 4 innings and you let in 1 run, you're going to be it's a standing O.
Yeah. So, I mean, Dave Trevecchi's arm basically fell off because he was pitching past what he was supposed to do.
Holy shit! I remember that.
Yeah, I mean, that stuff just didn't occur that much. Like, you sometimes had lefty specialists come in for one guy, but that was the extent of that.
Back in our day, a pitcher actually sort of like would see more than one batter, and that's how it was, and we liked it.
Wow, that was a really good imitation of old Hoss Radbourn's Twitter account.
Thank you. I was going for crap. What's his name? Shit. Dana Carvey.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I like the old Hoss Radbourn one. He's like, "Oh, you're out with a cut fingernail. I pitched 2 complete games of both sides of a doubleheader with rickets and syphilis."
And here's someone.
An old Hoss Radbourn account. You should.
Yeah, well, and here's someone who might have syphilis. Devin Williams, who will probably win the National League Rookie of the Year, is also named the Naughton Hall of Fame Middle Reliever of the Year. Record of 4-1, 0.33 ERA, 53 strikeouts over 27 innings.
Oh wow, that is 3 games right there. The other guy only had 2.5. That's 3.
Yeah,
that's pretty darn good. Pedro wishes he had that.
Oh,
Pedro in '99 was down the record.
Devin's WHIP is 0.630.
Wow, that's a rounding error.
Hmm? So I will be doing a bit of a write-up for the site, and these are the 2 men who are the first official middle relievers of the year. I will be doing that going backwards, but this is live, and I promised that I would announce that here. 2 completely different pitchers with 2 completely different backgrounds, and it's awesome, and that's why I love it.
Excellent. Well, congratulations to both. And also, by the way, congratulations to the San Diego Padres, who knocked out their Cardinals.
I just saw that, thank God. I shouldn't say thank God. You're a Red Sox guy, and obviously your team, Boston's out, my team, Toronto's out. I've had a soft spot for the San Diego Padres all of my life. So I'm cheering for them all the way through at this point. Like, what say you? Like, who do you want to win since your team's out?
Well, here's what I want to happen.
Okay.
And I'm sorry for Mookie Betts, who is still, I love that man out in Los Angeles. I want the Rays to beat the Yankees, the A's to beat the Astros, the Padres to beat the Dodgers, and the Marlins to beat the Braves. So we have a Padres, Marlins, A's, Rays Final Four. And at that point, I don't care.
That sounded sort of like very bitter.
So get rid of all the biggest market teams. The Yankees, get rid of the Yankees, Astros, and Dodgers, and Braves out. I don't really have anything against any of those teams. That's a lie. I don't have anything against any of the National League teams. I have nothing against the Braves and the Dodgers.
I get that.
The Yankees I am genetically predisposed to like, and the Astros should beam themselves with baseballs.
No, I get it.
But yeah, so that's what I'm rooting for. If the Padres win, that would be great. I mean, I'd love the Padres have never won. The Rays have never won. I root for the Padres over the Marlins. Certainly, the Marlins have won twice, and that's like it's ridiculous that franchise has won twice when so many others have won once or not at all. So I'd root for the Padres over the Marlins certainly, and like a Rays Marlins World Series would be kind of hilarious and the appropriate thing for what we should really get out of 2020's baseball season. But let's go Rays Padres in the final. That's what I'm looking for the World Series. Rays Padres.
I can't think of a better party than the 2021 New Year's, because I really can't.
Dude, we're getting an asteroid the day before the election. Don't worry about it. It's not going to happen.
Your election, not mine. I'm a Canadian.
It's the world election, just like the World Series.
I forgot. I forgot.
Yeah. So, no. Yeah, someone. I posted a joke on Facebook. I don't know, a week and a half ago that maybe the Mayans got the calendar wrong. They just reversed the numbers. It was 2021 instead of 2020. And one of my friends said that I was an optimist that we'd make it that far.
This number is good. It's a good number. I've heard it. I've heard it from people. They've told me it's a great number.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's not my best impression, right. But that's okay.
No, well, we need something to sign off on. Let's think of the most random 80s thing you can think of, and we'll get out of here. What's the most random 80s thing that pops in your head?
8 Arms to Hold You in My Heart by the Goon Squad.
Wow. I'm not even going to try and top that. That is a wonderful and deep pull. Congratulations. You win the sign-off.
Beautiful.
I'll talk to you next week.
All right. Stay safe, Evan. Thank you all so much for listening. Stay safe, everybody. Look for new content regularly from us at nothallofame.com.